All right, everybody, welcome to episode 1 of the Junkyard. Thank you for being here. Thank you for checking us out. We really do appreciate it. Just give you a little bit of rundown. My name is Spencer Cancer, number 11. I want to throw it over to my co-host, DDJ, Jovanni. Introduce yourselves.
All right. As Spencer so eloquently introduced me, I am Dennis Day Jr., otherwise known as DDJ, host of What Do You Say with DDJ. Drops every Monday at 12 a.m. and it's available on all major podcast platforms and also on the Pro Wrestling Junkies YouTube channel every Wednesday morning.
Yes, sir. Part of the Pod Squad.
Pod Squad. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Jovanni Hotty, also known as Jovanni Menacho on the Pro Wrestling Junkies Facebook page. Goodness, I'm just happy to be here with two of my best friends talking wrestling. What do we say?
Oh, best friend.
Heart emojis.
Oh, everybody making them heart emojis on our very first episode. All sharing the love today. So just if you have never listened to us and you haven't, because this is our first episode, this is the Junkyard where everything's open to discussion. We talk about all brands, all promotions, anything basically we want. It's a free range. It's the Junkyard. We go in weekend review in wrestling, talk about all that, roundtable interviews, classroom. So stay tuned for the next hour or so and get entertained. So guys, let's start off.
Real quick before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
We want to tell them about the big things we got on the horizon and what we got.
Definitely.
Yeah, so guys, just be on the lookout. We got some things happening with this podcast that could really take it to another level.
Big things.
It's so big. Should I tell them who we got or do it?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Yeah.
Thanks for my butt. Thanks for killing my butts, guys. Carry
We've
on.
got a whole episode to do. They'll tune out if they don't hear if we do it right now.
Yeah, you just like pop a cherry basically, and it's like, oh, no reason to continue. It's over.
We don't want to jump the shark too soon.
No.
You mean like retribution?
We will get into that for sure. Make sure you have your Bud Light lime ready, sir.
Oh, I'm right by my fridge, so I am good.
But hey, I want to start off with the two pay-per-views from this past weekend. You had Impact's Bound for Glory and WWE Hell in a Cell. This is kind of my first time watching Impact since Slammiversary. I thought it was a pretty good show overall. Had some great matches. A lot of unexpected results, and we got some new champions. I think almost every championship changed hands. Guys, what was your favorite part about Bound for Glory?
The only championship that did not change hands, and Spencer, you called it when we did our live predictions show, was Rohit Raju.
Mistake.
But who won the Impact predictions? This guy did.
I wouldn't celebrate that. It was like a 1-1.
You won by 2 points.
You know what? Win by 2 points, win by 10 points, win by 1 point. Yeah, win's a win. So I'm gonna take that, you guys.
DDJ, are you the Cowboy fan or is it me?
Oh,
I'm a Bears. I have my own problems to worry about.
He's a Bears fan.
God, I feel sorry for you, Jovanni.
It's okay. We're trying. God bless him. We're like Retribution. We don't know what we are anymore.
Hey, Spencer, speaking of football teams, which football team are you rooting for this week?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's start off with the 49ers, and now we're the Tennessee Titans. God forbid I root for the Atlanta Falcons, who actually got a win this week.
They won.
Shout out to the Atlanta Falcons.
That'll never happen. Don't worry.
All right, but going back to what we're talking about, but yeah, for me, again, and I called it. I was the only one that called it, but I'm not happy because I was the only one that called it. I'm happy because it was, I thought, a really feel-good story, and that was Rich Swann winning the Impact World Heavyweight Championship. For him to win that match and to come back from the adversity he had to face for basically being out for a year with what could have been a career-ending injury.
Right.
I mean, it's just an amazing story. And like I said, when we did the predictions contest, I said the feel-good story is going to be complete. He's going to get the belt. and he did it, and I was just so happy because to me it was more or less what he came back from. So that was like my favorite part of the show.
Okay, Jovanni?
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not very keen on the Rich Swann win. I love the story. I get why it works.
Right.
They had the full crowd emptying or the locker room emptying, the congratulatory.
Yeah.
It made you feel, it made you feel like this was a big time win, which it was for Rich Swann. But I think my favorite moment would have to be that Moose and EC3 match. EC3 is just everything he's doing right now is amazing with the control your narrative.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people felt like he was going to go over because he's controlling his narrative. But what we've seen in that match is his narrative was to make Moose who he had to be.
Right.
And to tell Moose to control his narrative. So EC3 is kind of doing this thing to where I'm putting people over by controlling what I do. And I just love storytelling. That was an amazing story. The match was brutal.
Right.
But that's mine.
Okay. I definitely I don't know if you can really call that a match. It was one of the cinematic matches. But definitely
come on, Uncle Dave.
No. I would say definitely that was a highlight of Bound for Glory for sure. The storytelling was on point. You called back to EC3's past when he was hitting kind of his finisher, and then Moose gave in and did basically what EC3 wanted him to be, kind of be the Moose of old. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Maybe he'll go for the Impact World Championship, the actual real one. But I think the biggest story kind of coming out of this, and yes, Rich Swann winning was definitely a swerve, but if you kind of look at it, kind of the writing was on the wall because Eric Young was a transitional champion. The biggest story I see out of Bound for Glory now is you have a new Impact Women's Champion, and the woman that was supposed to be there, and I know Jovan, our Facebook group, has been very vocal about this, but Kylie Ray did not show up to the Impact tapings. No one really knows what's kind of going on with her. Maybe she had an injury, if there was personal reasons. Hey, we might be maybe, I can't really say like a Tessa Blanchard situation because she's not holding the title or anything, but kind of like missing in action and not showing up. So
they were waiting for her. They expected her and she wasn't there. I mean, that's pretty much at least the facts of what we know so far. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. And just basically, and this is kind of one of those things where like it's really created like a divide in social media,
right?
Because you've got the people that are saying, and I see both sides of the story. So I'm for the record here, people who are listening to this can think of what they want because I can see both sides of the story. I mean, she's had some issues with, anxiety, depression. I don't know what. I'm not going to act like I know. Right. And basically it led to her, being released out of her contract from AEW because from what I understand, she was supposed to be really big. Like they were going to make her really big in AEW.
Yeah, that was a shock.
And it just almost sounded like it was the same thing. It was basically almost like the same thing here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of meeting Kylie Ray. She's a sweet person. I mean, she is what her character is. But I mean, it's such a fine line. And I mean, I get it. You may have these issues where, if you're, and I'm not going to, mental issues, whatever you want to call them in that. But in the grand scheme of things, you're being paid to do a job.
True.
And the thing is if you, regardless of the issue, we all have jobs.
Yeah.
We all have, issues that prevent us from getting to the job. But if I were to have, let's just say, one day it's like, I don't think I can, handle my job. Like if I were to go tell my boss that, my boss isn't going to be like, oh, okay, just come back whenever. My boss is going to let me go and find someone else that can, and I
exactly.
I fear like that's what's going to happen here. And again, not saying, that I'm trying to think of the right way of saying this. Not saying that it's an excuse or anything, but I mean, you're being paid to do a job, and sometimes you just got to, put on your big boy pants or big girl pants and
right.
And stuff, and if that makes me come off as sounding like I don't care and I don't get it, then so be it. But obviously those that know me know where I'm coming from, and those are the, my true friends, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, whatever's going on with Kylie, and I'll leave it at this, I hope she gets, whatever issue she's going through, whether it's an injury, whether it's mental stuff,
right,
to get herself taken care of and get herself into a good place before she does anything else in the world of pro wrestling. So
yeah, and I think DDJ, what you're alluding to, like, we don't know what she has. Is it some type of actual injury? Is it a mental issue? It's like in sports, when you have an off day, your swing is off, your pitch is off, something is off. They say you have the yips.
Yeah.
Maybe she gets the yips when it comes to the big spots. If she knows she's going in and she's gonna get the rub, she's gonna be the person. We're gonna go all in, no pun intended, with you, and that's too much for her to handle. Maybe she needs to get into a position of where she's not in that spot. She's a hell of a performer, but maybe the yips is too much for her to be the main performer or the champ.
Right. Great points, guys, for sure. Kylie, if you ever listen to this or any fans of Kylie, just know whatever's going on with her, we support her. Get better mentally, physically, whatever's going wrong. We want nothing but the best for any of these performers. Moving on, we had WWE Hell in a Cell the next night. What was your kind of favorite match or moment? I'll definitely say mine. I think the Sasha Banks Bayley was probably the match of the night. Great storytelling. The writing was on the wall. I think Sasha was when before we move on, we had our predictions. Dennis, you had your moment. Not a clear win, but Dennis, you did lose. Only by one match though, because kind of the card was very predictable. But me and Jovanni did tie. We'll leave it at that. But yeah,
yep.
Next one, we'll figure out a way to actually pick a real winner out of this. But yeah, match was good. Great storytelling. Some very brutal spots from these two women. I thought they put on a hell of a match for sure. But guys, what was your favorite match or moment from Hell in a Cell?
Number one, I feel wrong if I don't mention this. Whenever you say the name of this pay-per-view, Spencer, you got to put a little stink on it. I think I've said this in our predictions. You've got to really vince it up. You've got to get that Hell in a Cell, right?
Hell in a Cell.
There you go. Better. It was better than the last time.
Yeah.
That's well, thankfully no one saw that.
I think my favorite spotter, and I'm gonna get killed for this, junkies, everybody listening, I love all you guys, and I don't like to be the anti-hero person.
Oh, I know where you're going.
I know a lot of people didn't like the way this one ended, but I'm a fan of the Viper, and Randy Orton's match, to me, it makes so much sense. Long-term booking. I love a good face going against the heel champion, which is why I'm surprised I didn't like Rich Swann that much. But I guess I like it if the heel's the champion and I'm pulling the heel the whole way for that big spoil. But yeah, for me, it was the Randy Drew match, without a doubt.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Spencer on that. That, in my opinion, match of the night was definitely Sasha versus Bayley. And I'm not surprised. If I'm not mistaken, I'm thinking either when we did our prediction show or just in our chat, I think we were kind of all in agreement that, or at least most of it, that where we were figuring that this match was going to deliver.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it definitely did. So yeah, that definitely gets my match of the night though. But I'll be honest with you, I can't just get over how good this Roman Reigns Jey Uso story has been.
Yes.
And we're going to obviously talk a little bit more about the aftermath, when we start talking about SmackDown, because there were some pretty big developments on SmackDown this week.
Do you want to go ahead and get into it, Dennis?
Well, I can mention it and stuff. Yeah. Cause we're kind of just grouping everything.
Yeah.
together.
So go ahead.
So, the ending of the match, it basically Roman Reigns is, pummeling Jey, basically beating him in submission. Yep. Jimmy comes out still I don't think he's been medically cleared to compete yet. And he's like, trying to get Roman to stop. Jay's not quitting, and then there's the moment in the match where Roman is like almost on his knees and he's looking at Jay, and Jay's lifeless, and Roman's like almost like kind of almost thinking like, maybe he's kind of snapping out of whatever this is, because he's like, what am I doing?
Yep.
You could just feel the emotion, and Jimmy's there is like, I got you, Oos. I love you, Oos. And then the moment when they shook hands and hugged, boom, Roman puts that guillotine choke on him, lays him out, and then I think Jay comes to and then ends up quitting. But he was quitting not because of Roman beating on him. He's basically quitting to save his brother.
Right, save Jimmy.
Yep.
Yeah, so I just thought that was just brilliant. So then we go over into SmackDown now. Show starts out. Roman comes out. Jay's in the ring. And Roman's like, I'm going to give you till the end of the night to fall in line, or else you and your family are out. And then, real quick, going back to Hell in a Cell, the ending when Alpha and Sika came out and basically anointed.
Right. Yeah,
that was big.
They crowned him.
They anointed him. Yeah, they crowned him the tribal chief. Okay, so going back to SmackDown now, we have the whole thing where Roman's like, okay, I'm going to give you to the end of the show to fall in, and Jay was like, at the beginning, he's like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. We go to the main event of SmackDown. It was Jey Uso, against Daniel Bryan in a spot qualifying match for whoever the winner won the match would be on Team SmackDown.
Right.
Jay beats Daniel Bryan clean, but then afterwards, he literally just wastes Daniel Bryan. Continues beating on him. He does a splash from the top turnbuckle onto Daniel Bryan through a table, and basically completes the heel turn.
Yep.
So, and it's basically like, like Jay has officially fallen in line with Roman.
Right.
So now the next domino is going to be
Jimmy's got to come on next.
What's going to happen with Jimmy?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just, they are just, like I said, when we went back about a month or so ago, and we were talking about this, and we were talking about the first match that Roman and Jay had at Champion.
Yep.
Like that, I think we were all in agreement that match and that story was way better than I think anybody thought it would have been.
Yeah, it's every right to be. Mm-hmm.
It's continuing to exceed all of my expectations, and yeah, it's definitely the best thing going in WWE right now. So yeah, so just that moment though, my favorite moment from Hell in a Cell was the whole Roman almost like, what have I done? And then basically basically luring Jimmy in, and then just that, and then Alpha and Sika. At the end. So, but that was for me. So
to kind of recap on that SmackDown point on how it ended, man, I really wish they would have held out a little longer on that to give us a little bit more of a slow burn and a slow turn.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Jay, what he had working for him there is technically he didn't quit on his own. He quit because you were messing up his brother, right?
Right.
And it kind of has that Raging Bull feeling of where you could say, you never knocked me out. You never really made me quit. I quit because of him.
Yeah.
So there could have been a lot more build into there than just we end the night with there's a switch that just went off. Daniel Bryan gets pummeled straight through the table. By the way, what is WWE's table limit? How much money are they spending on tables nowadays? Because Lana's gone through 6 straight weeks.
Yeah.
Then Bryan. I mean, Jesus, that bill's going out of. They're just wasting money, guys. This is COVID.
They probably, you know what?
Vince don't care.
Yeah, Vince is just a billionaire and stuff, despite cutting all those wrestlers back in April or during the pandemic, and and
he had to cut them for tables.
Dude, they probably buy them in bulk.
Oh, hey, let's go to the table warehouse. How many you need? Like 20? Give us $1 million. What are you gonna do? We're gonna put Lana through every damn table.
We're going to see a scaffold match where Lana goes through a stack of tables. I'm calling it right now.
Oh, shit. Oh, God.
Jovanni's
so she's going to AEW soon.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually.
But yeah, so one other thing, since we're talking about WWE, guys, public service announcement. You guys need to start watching NXT UK again. Since they've relaunched, it has been some great wrestling. They have the Heritage Cup tournament going on right now. I believe they're in the semifinals that start up on next week's episode. And it's a real good throwback to the old British style of wrestling. So it's something, me being someone that's never seen that, this is kind of something new, and I really, really like it.
Right.
Yes.
But the main reason why I'm bringing up NXT is if you have not seen this match I'm about to tell you about, you need to do yourself a favor, Spencer, and go see it.
I will eventually watch it, I promise, but hype it up right now. Tell us, DDJ.
Okay.
NXT UK, DDJ, go ahead.
Hey, that kind of rhymes, so I like that. But no, so seriously, guys, the main event of this week's episode was Walter versus Ilya Dragunov for the NXT UK title. Make some time, set some time aside, and watch this match because it is the hardest hitting match I have ever seen, and it was amazing. I mean, every time Walter threw a chop, I felt it.
Oh,
yes.
And if you guys have never seen Walter, those that have seen Walter know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, my chest hurts just thinking about it right now.
He's gonna cave somebody's chest in, legitimately.
Oh, yeah.
Kofi Kingston style.
And if anything, if you can, try to see if you can find some pictures of Ilya Dragunov's chest and upper back from after the match, because my God, it looked like ground up hamburger meat. I mean, that's how beat up it was. So, but seriously, guys, go do yourselves a favor and watch this match. You will thank me later.
Okay, so I will definitely be seeking out that match eventually if my work schedule cooperates with that. But you know, if you have been we had a few test episodes, soft kind of launch. If you've been paying attention to those, we have a segment on here where we have to talk about Retribution. Dennis, what's your thoughts on Retribution this week? Are they buried? Does Vince even know what the hell he's doing with them anymore? Go ahead and crack open a Bud Light Lime because I know we got a little while.
Hold that thought.
Yeah. He has to drink a Bud Light Lime just to be able to get through this.
Just to say the name.
And I wasn't gonna drink tonight too, so thank you.
For those of y'all who don't have access to the video, this is the first swig of the Bud Light Lime because of Retribution. They're turning DDJ into, well, there you go. They're turning DDJ into a Bud Light Lime drinker.
Yeah, they're driving me. Retribution's driving me to become an alcoholic. So.
Oh God!
But again, I don't get what they're doing, because what was it? They had the singles match at Clash of Champions, where it's Bobby Lashley defending the U.S. title against
Hell in a Cell, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sorry, Slapjack. Let me make sure I at least get the name
no, Slapnuts.
Slapnuts.
Slap Dick, maybe.
God, these days they're still terrible. But go ahead.
But no, it's just, I mean, that was a squash, and then they had the the 8-man elimination match. You know, you had Hurt Business versus Retribution. MVP gets eliminated first because Reckoning.
Mia Yim.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna. Oh God, I can't think of the word. You know, but basically, I'm not gonna pretend like you guys all don't know who Reckoning is. I'm just gonna say it. Screw it. Mia Yim.
Don't you dare break kayfabe.
Having this panic attack, or some imaginary thing is attacking her because she's basically in the ring freaking out and just
Yeah, I thought it was the Fiend or something, because I haven't heard them involved in Retribution before.
Right, and MVP gets distracted, he gets eliminated, and it's just okay. Then Lashley and Dominic Dijakovic. I'm not. Yeah. No,
I didn't even know his Retribution name.
I'm not going to refer to Retribution by those stupid, god-awful names anymore. Then you take another drink.
Episode 1, and we're already done with Retribution officially.
But in all seriousness, I think it wound up being, it was Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin were the survivors of the match.
Right.
And it came down to Ali, and then next thing you know, he's getting taken out by all 4 members of the Hurt Business because, he's trying to run away, and MVP and Lashley meet him up at the ramp.
Yeah.
Long story short, Retribution stick a fork in them, they're done.
Ooh. Oh, that is. I would say that's a hot take, but I think we all kind of feel that way. Unless Jovanni, Retribution, stick a fork in them.
Stick a fork in them. They're done.
Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and say stick a fork in them. They're done. Quit the faction. Put Ollie by himself. You could probably still keep him a heel or something, but just kill Retribution. Take off the goofy mask. Kill the stupid goofy names and just have them be themselves. Dominic Dijakovic, Dio Madden, Shane Thorne, almost said it. Mia Yim, Mercedes Martinez was supposed to be there, but
she quit.
Whatever. Yeah, she was like, screw this. She's smartened up and got out. So good job on you, girl. But just save it. Just Vince has already said, I think in the dirt sheets and everything, he's tired with it. We're tired with it. Don't let Dennis drink again. Let this man not become an alcoholic. Retribution, you're done. Get out of here.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Can we pick up the talk and talk about how good NXT was this past week?
I was going to ask. I have not seen NXT or much of AEW, so give me a quick rundown of both and kind of the highlights.
Halloween Havoc.
Oh my God, Shotzi Blackheart. First off, she was looking really good in some of them outfits.
Dude, she put on more outfits than Cher at the damn Oscars.
But in all seriousness, she was tailor-made for what she did. Like that fit her to a T because I thought she did an amazing job throughout the whole show.
She's got a Halloween vibe about her, though.
Yeah.
Everything about her, the green hair and everything, it just screams it.
Yeah. But, I mean, just the show overall was really good. I thought both spin the wheel matches were really good.
Right.
Congrats to Johnny Gargano on, becoming the
NXT North American champion again.
Time. And then that tables, ladder. Well, I'm not going to lie. It was TLC.
Tables, ladders, and scares or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
That was a great match. So. And even Shotzi got involved to prevent, basically to offset the interference of whoever was under the scream mask, and EO ended up retaining.
Right. So,
and just overall, it was a really good show. I thought the Cameron Grimes, Dexter Loomis, House of Horrors match or whatever they called that it was interesting. It was unique.
Okay.
It was really creepy and freaky and stuff, but it
was very spooky.
Yeah, spooky. There you go. It all together.
Can I give a hot take right now?
Oh, yes, Jovanni. It would not be an episode of the Junkyard without a hot take.
I don't want to do it way too early and shoot our load and jump the shark, but NXT was better than AEW that week with Halloween Havoc.
I mean, I think I haven't seen it yet, but I think just with, the Halloween Havoc name, it was always probably going to be better, at least more better quality for sure.
100% agree with that hot take. Like I said, and I'm an AEW guy, but yeah, Halloween NXT this week was not saying how AEW was bad because it wasn't, but I mean,
great show, but Halloween Havoc was just another level.
Yeah, and then even the Rhea Ripley Reina Gonzalez match was really good too for two big women and stuff. I mean, obviously Rhea Ripley's hopefully finally on the road back to where she should be.
She should be champion.
Yep. Yeah, she should be champion.
Yeah. And I thought Reina Gonzalez, Raquel Gonzalez. Wow. I think that this was her her breakout match. I think she showed that she can hang with the big girls. So
okay.
Yeah. So but that's really about all my I got to say about NXT. So if you guys got anything else.
Let's go to the other Wednesday night show.
AEW Dynamite. I know we had two big qualifying matches to determine who's going to be facing each other at Full Gear. We had Wardlow and Hangman. Hangman went over, and then you had Kenny Omega versus Penta El-Zero-M. Kenny Omega goes over. Now we have Hangman versus Kenny Omega coming up at Full Gear for a shot at the AEW World Title. Mm-hmm. Kind of saw it coming.
Yep.
But you know what? A lot of the time, it's not just because you can see it coming doesn't mean it was the right thing to do.
Right.
Exactly.
This was a really good, and I mean, I think pretty much everybody knew that when this tournament was set up,
right,
that this was going to be the final. But see, it was a great way to get to this match that we all knew was going to happen the moment they lost the tag team titles to FTR and that. So, and I expect this match to be really good.
Oh yeah.
I haven't decided yet who I think is going to win because I think there's a really good case for both.
Mm-hmm.
I know who's winning.
I can see at the bottom of our screen here, Jovanni, you're holding up 3 fingers. Tell the people.
The winner is going to be a turn because it's going to be Hangman Adam Page, who is going to be part of the New Horsemen.
Ooh, does that finally happen?
It's got to. Haven't you seen the new merch, the new satin jacket? That third horse looks mighty Hangman-y.
Was he holding the beer?
He should have been. But he had his hair. And for somebody that, in our Pro Wrestling Junkies Facebook group told me that could have been Tully. Tully's bald.
Oh, and we know it wasn't Tully in the ring either.
It wasn't.
It was Hangman all along.
It was him, damn it.
So, but yeah, that setup was real, and they announced a lot of matches for the card, and we'll get to that a little bit later, But I also want to talk about. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but during that lumberjack match, is it me, or does it seem like that maybe Cody hasn't escaped the darkness after all?
Ooh.
Keep going.
Because if you think about it, so the Dark Order came out, they were part of the lumberjacks that surrounded the ring.
Right.
They tried to help Cody, and Cody didn't stop them.
Ooh.
But then also, and I had to go back and watch this, but near the end of the match, Arn Anderson decked Orange Cassidy, which basically led to Cody hitting, I believe it was the Crossroads, to get the win and stuff. So we had a little bit of some heelish actions from Double A, the coach.
Who's going to be joining that faction?
Good old batteries, good old Double A.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm really, and I think that Cody's upcoming match, at Full Gear with Darby Allin, I think it might go a long way in maybe determining where Cody goes from, with his character from here and stuff.
So, DDJ, I thought you were going to bring in there with the possible assistance from the Dark Order, one of our long-running maybe conspiracy theories. Man, we're getting them out of here quick. And that's maybe a Dark Order civil war.
Yeah.
Or maybe Mr. Brody Lee isn't the real enlightened one. So I don't know, man. I love me some the exalted one. Excuse me. Well, I gave him a little bit more than what he was given.
He is the enlightened one.
He is enlightened and exalted. We love Brody.
Yes, we do.
But I don't know, guys. I like me some long-term storytelling, and there's a lot of seeds and a lot of smoke. They have the smoke.
Is it the same smoke that the Street Profits always seem to do?
Oh yeah, it's all the same smoke.
I think you missed a golden opportunity here. They got the smoke, and they got the mirrors.
Oh,
throwing it back old school there. Oh, don't think too much.
We also had that really entertaining open forum with about MJF joining the Inner Circle. I thought that was just hilarious. And again, Eric Bischoff stole the show with that.
EB
and stuff. So, and basically that's leading up to, what? Let's just start bringing Full Gear into the mixture, because everything we talk about seems to be leading into a match with Full Gear, which is great.
It's crazy how they're doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Isn't
a week before?
Maybe WWE should take note of what AEW is doing.
What? No, just throw together matches and tell people before them are going on.
You mean Bobby Lashley versus Slapdick?
What?
Hold on a second. I talked about Retribution.
Oh god!
The official drinking game of the Junkyard. If we mention Retribution or a member, you have to drink. I'm sorry, DJ.
And unfortunately, he's the only one drinking right now. And Jovanni. I guess I'll take a swig of my sweet tea here.
I had to pay up too. I said the R word.
And you guys feel free to play along with us at home.
Just don't drink too much because
don't do it while you're driving.
Definitely don't do it while you're driving.
Come on.
But no, so going back to the whole thing with MJF joining the Inner Circle, that leads us to a match at Full Gear, which I'd probably say right now I'm really looking forward to more than anything, just because of the promos leading up to that match.
Right,
we're going to see Chris Jericho versus MJF at Full Gear, and if he wins the match, he
called it?
Becomes part of the Inner Circle.
Spencer called it.
I called it. I told you guys the match was coming. MJF versus Chris Jericho. I didn't think it would happen this soon, but.
So
it's coming. And save your prediction, because when we do our predictions episode, I want to get fully into that.
He wants to get full geared.
Hey, guys, real quick, since we're talking about things that are coming up in the future, can I announce like what our guests for like our really
God. Not this again. All right. So hey, I say we're done with the weekend of wrestling. Guys, this is the inaugural episode of the Junkyard, episode number 1, the debut of the Junkyard. Debut. So we usually do. Yes. So we usually do a round table, kind of talk about a topic or kind of just whatever we feel like discussing. For this one, we thought we'd talk about some memorable debut. So, Jovanni, kick us off, bro.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to rip through some brief debuts in wrestling history. Let's start off with the very, very, very first possible inkling of pro wrestling, which was in 1860s. Carnivals and I guess you would call them circuses back in the day would have strongman contests where they would wrestle or fight each other. So that's kind of like the birth of what we have now, pro wrestling. We've come a long way from there. I think the next milestone would have to be 1948. A bunch of indie promotions or territories, as they were named back then, kind of got together and were like, hey, let's unify together. Let's make one big, giant sort of company, but still with some freedoms. And that's when the NWA was created, right?
Right.
The National Wrestling Alliance. They did unify one solid champ. That was Mr. Luthez. You may not know him if you are a newer wrestling fan, but if you've been watching since the 90s or if you've been watching WWE lately, he's the guy that they named that move the Luthez press about. Funny thing.
I'm sure we've all heard of that.
Oh, yeah, the Luthez press. It's very popular moves.
Right.
After Luthez, guys, the big ones we're going to talk about is the first real inkling of the WWF. And we're not going to go into the CWC or whatever Vince's prior was, but WWF had Championship Wrestling, which happened in 1972. That whole era was all televised. 72, with Championship Wrestling, led into the mecca of wrestling that we know now as WrestleMania, right? The first big spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on March 31st, 1985. And to kind of give you another big one, something we reviewed or we touched on was Monday Night Raw. One of your first episodic weekly TV shows, because a lot of people don't know, you used to get wrestling and it was just random. They would record days ahead. They'll release them pretty much whenever. Could be Saturday morning at 3 a.m. on a random access channel. Raw was one of the first shows that was episodically released. Set time, see you this time, this day, every day, every week. And Raw debuted January 11th, 1993. If you have the network, go watch the very first episode of Raw. HBK defends the Intercontinental title. Amazing match. And it was only 1 hour, not 3.
Not even 2?
Not even 2.
Wow.
And the WWF Championship Wrestling in 72 was 2 hours, but then again, it was very sporadic on when they aired it.
Right.
And then lastly, just because I want to shout out one of my favorite brands and kind of either, I don't want to say a rebirth in wrestling, but definitely a paradigm shift in wrestling, if you will. AEW was officially a thing, All Elite Wrestling, January 1st, 2019.
Oh, what a day.
Great debut for a great new company that shifted wrestling history. DDJ, if you want to start with some of your favorite wrestling debuts.
One thing I want to mention, because you just talked about the whole, the announcement of AEW on January 1st of 2019. I actually, that obviously being New Year's Day, I was actually at a friend's house with my wife and my son for a New Year's party that they were having. And my friend and I, my friend Patrick, who's not on Facebook, but he's like a really good guy and stuff. We stayed up, like, I think till about 2, almost 3 in the morning when the BTE episode came out that announced AEW.
Yes.
So we wanted to watch that live. And that was the ultimate game changer. One thing that I would kind of, in terms of wrestling, like debuts, in terms of shows and stuff that needs to be brought up, was, I believe it was September 4th, 1995. Correct me if I'm wrong on the date, but I know it was that Monday, Labor Day, was the debut of WCW Monday Nitro, which ultimately led to the start of the Monday Night Wars. And that
very true.
So that's just one thing I kind of wanted to mention. For me, in terms of like memorable debuts, though, the first one that comes to mind, and if I'm stealing your guys' thunder, I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not, because you guys won't let me reveal the big secret. So
keep your mouth shut.
So feisty.
So you know what? I don't care if you guys had this in mind or not, and if I'm stealing your thunder, you know what? I don't care anymore. But no, it was Chris Jericho's debut on Monday Night Raw in Chicago.
Fiend.
I mean, my God, just to be thrust in that spotlight, to basically, okay, you're making your big debut and you're going to be going in a promo battle with The Rock, who was like the man, when it comes to promos. And I'm going to say it, Jericho held his own against The Rock.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So that's one. The other one that I can think of, just real off the top of my head, and then I'm going to let you guys talk, and maybe I'll think of a few more, was the 2016 Royal Rumble. It was Roman Reigns and Rusev that started it out. Rusev got eliminated early.
Spencer, he's really going at the jugular tonight.
Yeah.
And then, countdown goes to 3, 2, 1. And then next thing you know, music starts playing, the crowd starts roaring, and they cut to the entryway, and it's AJ Styles. I mean, it just because I think it had been rumored he was coming, but nobody knew when. But I'm watching at home. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that was a game changer.
Game changed.
So, all right. So that's all I got for right now. I'm sure I'll come up with a few more. So I'm going to let you guys.
Okay. Well, I definitely want to elaborate on that for sure, because I wanted to talk about that one. AJ Styles debuted at the 2016 Royal Rumble. This was after he finished with his contract in New Japan, got kicked out of the Bullet Club. He comes into this company that nobody ever thought he would come into. He worked for Impact for the longest time. He was on the other brand. I think this was the start of like a major shift in kind of how, like, before then you were kind of like having the indie stars come in, but I think this kind of like showed like, hey, now we're having like this talent, because I think Samoa Joe started coming in. You hit like Bobby Roode, all these other guys, these former Impact guys started coming over. So I think that definitely led the way for a new crop of talent who had been around for a very long time to come into the WWE. So that's definitely something that'll be talked about for a very long time, for sure. I think when you talk about just like wrestler debuts, also, you got to talk about the debut of John Cena. Here's this guy, this kind of blue chip athlete. He comes in short shorts, the prototype. Yeah. He comes in up to Kurt Angle. I think it was one of his open challenges, right?
It was.
Oh, and Jovanni is actually wearing a Kurt Angle shirt. Maybe he has something to say about somebody else too. But he comes into the ring, and Kurt asks him, what do you have that makes you different from everybody? And John Cena comes up in his face, and he says, ruthless aggression, and slaps the shit out of Kurt Angle.
Yep.
And that's when you knew. And then they had like a match. And then after the end, I think Undertaker says like, good job, kid. And it's kind of, he hadn't arrived yet, because I think it took a few more years or so before he got his Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick.
Thugonomics is what set him off.
That's what really set him off. But this was definitely the start of it. Yeah.
Sorry, real quick.
You're good. Go ahead.
The Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick that not only set his career on that to basically led to where he is now. That literally saved his job because he was on the
absolutely
fired at the time.
Have y'all heard that story?
Yeah, I heard that. Like I think on a WWE Network special or something.
Yep.
Yeah, he's come out and said that literally saved his job because I think he was on his way out if this didn't happen. So
he didn't start getting over, and it was just something random that he was doing in the back of the tour bus, and they're like, "Yeah, go with that."
Right.
So
for sure.
All right. Jovanni, what do you got, bud?
It's hard not to play favorites with some of your favorite wrestlers, and I mean debuts when people come out initially, you don't know if they're going to be big or not, and this was definitely the case for this blue chip prospect. Man, he was a second generation star. So they, automatically people were expecting big things. Your grandfather and your father's a wrestler, and you mix both of their names together, and you're coming out as Rocky Maivia, which happened in November 4th, 1996. But you don't get over until the Nation of Domination, and you call yourself The Rock in 1998, and it's been music ever since.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
He is the great one.
He is the one. Dennis, what else you got for me, man? Since you stole my AJ Styles one.
Well,
he won't. He's mad at us
because you guys are being mean to me. So
we love you, man.
I love you guys too, man. But
heart emojis.
All the heart emojis.
But no, and it was alluded to just now with your Spencer about John Cena because you mentioned Kurt Angle.
Yep. His
debut, and actually this is what I talked about when he was on one of the meet and greets that we did a while back. His debut at Survivor Series 1999. I mean, he come out, he's this guy, he's like, oh yeah, the only real, only Olympic gold medalist and WWE history and stuff. He basically
freaking neck.
Yeah. I mean, and he goes out and has this, a wrestling match with with Shawn Stasiak, and the crowd's not really getting into it. In fact, they're like kind of starting to turn on Kurt, and basically Kurt Angle goes out of the ring, grabs the microphone, and says, "You do not boo an Olympic gold medal." And I said to my best friend, who I believe I was watching this with, I said this to someone, I think it was my best friend at the time, and I said, that guy right there is going to be a star. And I remember asking Kurt Angle about that moment when I got a chance to talk to him during the meet and greet. And I asked him if that was planned or if that was on the fly. And he said that was on the fly. Like, I think Vince told the ref told him or something like that to like, go grab the mic and do that. And I thought that was just pure brilliance.
Right.
So, DDJ, there may be something with people, and I don't want to say people, I want to say Hall of Famers making their debut at Survivor Series.
Oh,
because I think my next one,
I think we know where you're going.
Definitely a Hall of Famer, and it would be Survivor Series, you gentlemen, in 1990 when we got The Undertaker. FKA Texas Red from my state of Texas. Guys, it's Mean Mark Calloway himself. Just amazing athlete, amazing debut. Scared the shit out of me as a child too, DDJ. Purple gloves, the freaking eye shadow and the eye rolling.
Oh yeah. God, they used to get me.
It sent chills up my spine.
So
yeah.
All right, Spence.
All right. I think we got to talk about the formation of probably one of the greatest factions of all time that has led the way for basically all other factions, Bullet Club, all the factions of today. And I'm talking about the New World Order, NWO for short. 1996, Bash at the Beach. You throw them up, too sweet, baby. You had 1996, Bash at the Beach. The Outsiders. Who did they face again? I don't exactly remember.
The match was supposed to be the Outsiders and their third man. They were going up against Sting, Lex Luger, and the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Right.
And the thing was Luger was taken out of that match early, so it basically evolved into a tag match. But go carry on.
Thanks, I couldn't remember that one. But yeah, so then that all happened, and the Hulk Hogan starts coming to the ring, and like as DDJ said, everybody was trying to figure out who's going to be the third man. Nobody knew who it was. And kind of when, the announcer said that, we kind of started maybe putting things together, but no one really like, okay, Hulk Hogan is not going to turn on all these people.
Right.
Hulk Hogan comes to the ring, lays them all out. Hulk Hogan joins the Outsiders, and then they form the NWO. And then that's went on to spawn, the NWO Hollywood, NWO Wolfpack, and that moment at Bash to the Beach led to the creation of probably, honestly, the greatest faction of all time.
So I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but do you know who the third man was going to be if Hogan didn't go through with it?
No.
This is not a conspiracy theory. This is, I think this was even talked about on a WWE Network special, but the plan was going to be if Hulk Hogan decided, you know what, I don't want to do this.
Right.
Sting was supposed to be the third man.
Yep.
Oh.
I've heard that many a times. Yep.
But I'm glad it went the way it did because no, nothing against Sting because Sting's awesome and But I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have had the same kind of impact if it had been Sting versus if it was Hogan because of everything that Hogan was going up to this. So
right.
Yeah, there's no way it would have had the same impact because you have Mr. Eat your vitamins, eat your vegetables, say your prayers,
take your vitamins.
The biggest baby face of all time.
The biggest baby face, and now if nowhere comes out, I did it for the money. What?
Yep.
Conspiracy theory, mind blown. But no, it actually happened.
Yeah. So another couple other debuts I want to mention. You kind of talked about a little bit, Spence, with the whole NWO, but just Scott Hall showing up on the first 2-hour edition of Monday Nitro
was big too. Yeah.
Because at the time. This is before the internet. This was before, everything where like we would know who's showing up and stuff. Like I saw this and I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't he part of the WWF?
Yeah.
Completely in Razor Ramon character, everything and stuff. So this was like, really like at the time blurring the lines. But one debut, I should say return, whatever you want to call it, that really I think came out of nowhere was on the very first edition of Monday Nitro. When I think it was Sting was in the midst of getting ready to face Ric Flair in a match, and out of the entryway comes the total package Lex Luger. One day, I believe it was the day after his WWF contract expired, he showed up on Nitro. Nobody knew that was coming, and I just thought that was like, and that was kind of long, like, okay, Nitro's going to be legit, because they pulled that off. So that was like another one for me.
The days before the 90-day compete clause.
Oh,
what it wasn't that his, he got released and his contract ran out.
Yeah.
Like if you just stay there, like, and your contract runs out, you don't have that 90-day compete clause. Like kind of going. Dustin Rhodes was smart. Like he didn't make a big stink about wanting to go. He quietly let his contract expire, and then obviously that led to the match between him and Cody at Double or Nothing. So, but no, Luger showing up on Nitro was another really good one, and that. So, but yeah,
I throw in a surprise debut as well.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And damn all if the Royal Rumble is just not the best place to hide a debut. If you could keep it off the dirt sheets.
Very true, yeah.
All you dirt sheets people, you're killing me. You're killing kayfabe. I don't want to sound like Cornette, but Jesus.
Cheeseburger.
Double cheese on that cheeseburger, DDJ. It's got to have double cheese.
Yeah.
But Edge's return, the minute his music hit, I was watching it, and I got chills. I was instantly back to being top Edge head. I was screaming, and my family's looking at me like I'm just the dumbest thing they've ever seen in their life.
How was that any different than any other day?
Oh, shots fired.
That's very true. I'll let that go.
I think Jovanni needs a Bud Light Lime now.
I need a Bud Light Lime.
Oh.
Cheers. Until we get an official drink sponsor.
Bud Light Lime, if you're listening.
Also, I would like to be sponsored by Wendy's, but that's on another topic.
Yeah. Wendy's, if you're listening.
The Junkyard loves you right here on the PWJ Junkyard.
Pod Squad.
Pod Squad.
All right. I forgot. What were we saying, Jovanni?
Well, I was done. I was just popping on edge.
Popping on edge. Everybody loves to pop on edge. I think I got one more, and then I'll let you guys finish off. I was kind of looking at some because I kind of forgot some of these debuts, but one I definitely think should definitely be talked about. 2011, you had NXT, as it was known, as like the reality show. You had the first season, you had all these young up-and-coming talent, Wade Barrett, Daniel Bryan, Skip Sheffield, Heath Slater,
Michael Tarver,
Justin Gabriel,
Darren Young,
friend of the show, Fred Roger.
Yep, and David Otunga.
Yeah. So you have these guys that are just trying to make a name for themselves, and then after the competition ended, it was like, okay, I guess I'll go on to another season. I think the next night or maybe a few nights after on Raw, they show up and they basically just wreck everything. Wreck the ring, wreck the refs. Daniel Bryan chokes out Justin Roberts, actually gets fired for real. And that was supposed to be the start of probably could have been one of the greatest factions of all time, but we know how that ended. Cena buried them all at
Retribution.
SummerSlam.
Dude, are you trying to get drunk?
I swear that was not any intent. I don't know. Maybe it was.
Actually. No, I was talking to you. I was talking to Jovanni on that one because he was.
Yeah. That's another like big thing. You had these young group of talent that I think that might have been one of the first times back in 2011 that this actually happened.
2010, actually.
2010. Thank you. See, we got the fact checker over there. He checks all the political out too probably. Yeah, like I don't think we had seen anything like that before, and unfortunately, it kind of ended abruptly. But there could have been a lot of potential there, so I just want to give a shout out to that moment.
Yeah, real quick to kind of add on to that. I don't know if either of you guys or any of our audience listens to the Arn Show, my favorite podcast. He's like, they've been going through the last few weeks. They've been talking about like a lot of the 2010 pay-per-views and stuff like that.
Right.
One of the common things that always seems to come up when they discuss Nexus is Arn Anderson said that thing had at least a year, if not like a year and a half, 2 years. Like they could have stretched that out to have done properly. Yep. I totally agree. So I want to come. I got like I'm trying to think of one more. Oh. I'm not a huge fan of this guy, but there's no denying that the relatively short time he was, in the business, he really made an impact, and that was Goldberg's debut in 1997. Yeah, I was actually talking I had a gentleman by the name of Jonathan Hudson on my podcast. Was episode.
I know this story.
Yes, because he opened, and you probably heard the ending of that story too with the infamous phone call, and I'm just by the way, that episode is now available wherever you get all your major on any major podcasting platform, and also on the Pro Wrestling Junkies YouTube page.
Yeah, I would definitely check that out for sure. Great story.
But yeah, just talking, because I mean, he came in and there was this guy who was at the time just like an unknown, and he just started going through guy after guy after guy after guy after guy, and got his streak up to a 173-0. And I mean, there again, I've never been a Goldberg fan. I never will be a Goldberg fan. He's not my type of guy, but I can't deny he was like, I think Bobby Heenan christened him the man, and there's no doubt he was, because I mean, he was so over and stuff like that. So you really can't go about that. And one other debut I want to talk about, and this one's going to be hit a little close to home to me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jovanni.
You know what, DDJ? Let me get you right there, though, because it's something doesn't sit well with Goldberg and being the man. He could have been the man. That's fine. He had 2 moves. That's cool. Everybody knows it. I'm sorry, Goldberg. Love you. Don't beat me up. But there's only one debut I think can top Goldberg, and that's Goldberg 2.0, the next big thing.
Oh,
Brock
Lesnar. Well played. Well played.
So I just wanted to throw Brock Lesnar out there before we end on your next one.
Yeah, and this will be the last one I talk about. So we're going to go back in the Wayback Machine. It was 1983, I believe. Two guys who literally revolutionized not only tag team wrestling, but just wrestling in general, the Road Warriors.
Yes.
These two guys were really unlike anything anyone had ever seen. I mean, they basically looked like they stepped straight out of the Mad Max movies, with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Face paint. They had the spikes.
And they look like they eat people.
Yeah. And it was just they everywhere they went, they dominated.
Right.
They dominated Georgia Championship Wrestling. They went up to the AWA, dominated there. They went to the NWA, dominated there. They came to the WWE, they dominated there for a little while and stuff. Japan. I mean, everywhere they went, these guys were just, and I mean, they had, one of the who I think is a criminally underrated manager in Paul Ellering.
Yes.
And stuff, and it's just, I mean, these guys literally revolutionized the tag team scene. And I mean, there have been teams that they've tried to christen the next Road Warriors. Demolition was widely known as being a Road Warriors ripoff, but Demolition in their own right was a really good tag team.
Yeah.
And even this basically led to the implosion of the career, but they even tried it with the Ascension.
And then even more recently with the AOP, they even brought Ellering back for that one.
Yeah.
And but yeah, there will truly never be another tag team like Hawk and Animal, and
at all.
Obviously, we just recently lost Animal and we lost Hawk about almost about a little over 17 years ago, and it's just they're gone, but they're not forgotten and stuff. So I just want to definitely touch on that. So so I'm all out of memorable debuts. I'm sure I can think of some guys. This is where we want you to get involved. If there are any debuts that you can think of, please share them with us. In the Pro Wrestling Junkies group on Facebook and stuff. We definitely want to hear what you guys think about what we said, and if you guys got any other ones. So please let us know,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Got one more I want to touch on, and then we're going to go straight to class, guys. Kind of a more recent one. We don't really know the impacts of it, and I'm kind of might be a little bit biased, especially by my name, but I got to talk about the debut of the Exalted One, Brody Lee, for the Dark Order. Changed everything for the Dark Order, made him probably the best faction in pro wrestling. I don't care if I'm biased. I'm number 11. Join the Dark Order. Dennis knows he's wearing a Dark Order shirt, actually a Halloween Dark Order shirt that I need to get one day. Jovanni's in it. The Junkyard has joined the Dark Order. I want that to be known on this first episode. But
Wendy's, we are also hungry.
Junkyard hungry for sure.
Junkie hungry.
Junkie hungry.
Hey, that's it. Hey, T-shirt.
T-shirts.
T-shirts will eventually be coming down the line. Let us know if you want them. Junkie hungry that actually might be your first shirt. That's actually great. But hey, guys, time to go to class. Professor DDJ and Jovanni Hotty. For our viewers that don't know, I will give you a wrestler, past, present, alive, dead, you give me some good matches to watch. Myself, our viewers are kind of maybe might be younger in my demographic, haven't seen these matches or just want to see them again. We were talking about famous debuts, and one name that you guys mentioned, or I mentioned, the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena. Give me some good John Cena matches. Starting off with a good one. I want some good ratings, so let's go.
Woo!
All right, I'm gonna go with, and this was actually, I don't want to use the Well, actually, you know what? No, I'll go with this one.
Okay.
There was a match that he had about 14 years ago, I believe. It was in against Edge at Unforgiven and the TLC match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I think that was really, John Cena's first match of that type. I don't think he'd really been involved in anything, other like that prior to this.
Right.
And really, I think kind of showcased his versatility. And I just thought overall it was a great match. I mean, the story was, Edge and John Cena had their rivalry that, was basically took up much of most of 2006. And this was kind of, I believe, the end of the rivalry for this time period. I mean, when it went back and forth, and the match ends where Cena gives the AA to Edge, and Edge goes through like 3 tables and, title back and stuff. But I mean, that's the first one I can think of off the top of my head with when it comes to John Cena matches. So guys, please go check out John Cena versus Edge TLC Unforgiven 2016.
Oh, that spot was crazy.
So I'm going to go back kind of to what DDJ alluded to a little earlier when we talked about John Cena being the prototype. I'm going OVW Prototype versus the Leviathan, who would have been Batista.
Ooh, that's a throwback.
That is, if you can find it on the network, I don't know if it's on there. YouTube it. Those two, it's just real raw John Cena, real raw Batista. I thoroughly love that matchup.
That one was out of left field. Good job.
That's what I'm here for.
So my next one, it's actually not going to be just one match. It's going to be a trilogy.
You better give it to me, boy.
Oh, that sounded horrible. But I'm going to go back to 2015.
Mm-hmm.
A young upstart who just made his debut on Monday Night Raw.
Mm-hmm.
He was the NXT champion at the time.
Yep.
It was.
I love these matches.
He showed up on Raw to answer. I believe it was the John Cena's, open challenge.
Yep.
He came out and basically came out. They did their thing, and he ended up giving Cena the pop-up powerbomb. And a little kind of cool context behind this moment was, if you can go online, watch the video of Kevin Owens' son as he's watching that happen. It's really cool. It's a really good feel-good moment and stuff. But anyways, kind of going back, that led to a match between the two at the Elimination Chamber 2015 pay-per-view.
Right.
Yep.
That match was amazing, and I mean, Kevin Owens went over, and so it's like, basically that was his statement match.
Yeah.
He would go on to have 2 more matches. I believe one was at Money in the Bank. And then the other one was they had another one, and that was Payback, I believe, or something like that. But it was basically the summer of 2015.
Right.
Even though Cena won the series, and stuff, all 3 matches were just like really just amazing. And so guys, if you haven't seen that, go watch the John Cena Kevin Owens trilogy from the summer of 2015.
Right. Kevin got over. I mean, Cena went over, but Kevin Owens got over with that series for sure.
Big time. I like where DDJ's at with rivalries. I don't think there was a better rivalry at the time. Well, there might have been some classics, but at least for what was going on then the man that ran the place for a long, long time, Hustle, Loyalty, and Respect, John Cena, against Chicago's own CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was actually going to be my last one, but I just found another one that I want to mention after that, and then I'm done.
I think for me, the pinnacle match is going to be the one where Punk goes over. I believe it's SummerSlam.
Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, where Punk wins the title, and he does the whole, bye-bye angle with the belt.
Yep.
Those guys can work with each other just amazingly. I love that rivalry.
So good.
So my last one is going to be, And this actually was one that wasn't on a pay-per-view, although they did have a match on a pay-per-view. It was actually at a WrestleMania rematch that they had on Raw. I think it was about 2-3 weeks, maybe a month or so later. I'm going to go to April 23rd, 2007. It was on an episode of Monday Night Raw. I believe they were actually in London. I believe they were overseas. John Cena and Shawn Michaels. They went, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they went almost an hour.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
And they went back and forth, and it was a non-title match. Shawn Michaels got the win, but man, though, that's just one of those, again, where it's like you could just sit there and just be in awe of just how good that match was. So like I said, those are just to recap my three. They got John Cena versus Edge from TLC from Unforgiven 2006. The John Cena Kevin Owens trilogy from 2015, and then John Cena versus Shawn Michaels from the April 23rd, 2007 episode of Raw.
All right. So I started out with OVW, the Prototype versus the Leviathan. That's John Cena versus Batista. I went into Cena and Punk with the accumulation at Money in the Bank, where Punk wins in Chicago.
Yep.
Then I'm going to take you guys. This is the last Magic Mystery Tour of Mr. John Cena on a Sunday episode of WWE Velocity.
Ooh.
Velocity mentioned on here? Wow.
John Cena versus Bryan Danielson. I think that's recently put up on the network not too long ago. Yeah. Give it a watch. These two guys put on a hell of a show. Hell of a match, and I think it was also added into one of Daniel Bryan's memorable matches when he was a spotlight in a 2K game.
It was actually, yeah.
And also, too, just on that, once you're done with that, go watch the match they would have about 10 years later at SummerSlam, because that's one of those ones that, God, John Cena gets a lot of crap.
Let the people know.
But I mean, he's had a lot. I mean, as evidenced by our discussion here, is that he's had a lot of memorable matches. Just real quick, that one, and then another honorable mention goes to John Cena versus Rob Van Dam from ECW One Night Stand 2000.
Yes,
and
hell of an honorable mention.
Yes.
So. I'd bust his chops. I call him the 5 moves of death and House of Loyalty, Respect, Fruity Pebbles, all that junk. But honestly.
Fruity Pebbles.
I respect the man. He's a hell of a talent. Just to get over the way he did, saving his own job. Dr. Thugonomics transition to what we have now. His longevity in the game is just amazing. So hats off, John Cena. If you ever hear this, you're all right with the Junkyard.
And if you ever hear this, please come do a meet and greet with PWJ and come be on our podcast. We would really appreciate that.
Open invitation.
Open invitation.
Big. But yeah, I got a match. I just had to confirm the details about it. One that I saw and I was like, wow, John Cena, he ain't afraid to get brutal, and that is at Judgment Day 2005 against JBL.
Oh, God. Wow, yeah, that's an underrated gem.
Right.
Yes.
That showed me that Cena can get vicious when he needs to and take care of the job. For sure, Cena, he can definitely put people over for sure. He's a good worker, but that showed a level of violence. You don't know if some performers can do it, but that match for sure, as Dennis is saying, is underrated. Showed that Cena could go to that level. And he's had to go there a few times for sure. So, guys, great recommendations. I definitely think, guys, everybody who's listening, everybody who's watching on YouTube or anywhere, please let us know your thoughts about these matches. What do you think? What was your favorite moment out of them? What's your favorite John Cena match? Let us know in the comments below. We definitely would love to talk about these on our second episode or any future episode. Any of your feedback is very welcome. So please let us know all your thoughts and opinions on these matches. And again, your favorite John Cena match moment. Also, your opinions on John Cena. Is he overrated? Is he done with WWE now that he's turned into a big Hollywood star? Let's open up the discussion.
Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks. Let's go, Cena. Cena sucks.
Question: which side were you guys on? Let's go, Cena or Cena sucks?
Cena sucks.
You know, I actually called in on a radio show once. It wasn't Busted Open. It was a local one that they did a segment about wrestling, and it was down. Right. I never really hated John Cena, but I never was like, the biggest fan. So I was kind of in the middle, but I never thought Cena sucks because I never thought he did. I thought he's just not for me, but I would
DDJ, I don't think Cena sucks. Let me give you some reasoning with mine. You would hear, "Let's go, Cena." Cena sucks. I mean, my voice matches the second one, so I have to go with Cena sucks.
So that's what
Cena sucks. Exactly. You have to go with your group.
Yeah.
So wait, so you just went from doing a Spencer impersonation to your voice for
Yes.
Let's Go Cena. Does that play
a wide vocal range?
Yeah, you do.
We're gonna be using that for some voiceovers here.
Oh yes.
Hey guys,
Yes.
can I please let everybody know what's going on?
Okay. So hey, thank you for joining us on our first episode of the Junkyard. We're not even going to talk about him right now.
We're not even acknowledging DDJ.
now. But please let us know what you thought of this first episode, just overall. Your thoughts, your opinions on it, what we could do better, what you think we should do better. Leave us a 5-star review because we're going to eventually get this up on all the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. What do you say? DDJ is already there. We'll be right there. We got our logo, so we're just getting that all put up.
All of us.
Yeah, make sure you rate 5 stars. Leave a review. Maybe some giveaways in the future, possibly. We'll see. Make sure also you follow all our socials. You can find them over on the corner if you're watching the video form, audio form. They'll be in the description, PW_Junkies, Instagram and Twitter. And then also make sure you follow our Facebook group, Pro Wrestling Junkies. Just request to be invited in, answer a few questions, and you're in, and you'll be a part of probably the fastest growing and most positive wrestling community. So we would love to have you a part of that group.
No, do not go asking people for wrestlers' email addresses.
Please don't ever do that.
Ever.
Or we will kick you out so fast and ban you. You know who you are. But hey, guys, thank you so much. You can follow me on my personal Twitter account. I don't really use it that much, but at scancer11. Guys, let them know your socials.
Jovanni?
23044. I mean, you can follow me at Twitter.
Wow.
No, that was Mike Jones's number. Come on. I'm on Twitter at DFW Chairman.
All right. I'm on Twitter as well at Dennis W. Day Jr. and then on Facebook as Dennis Day Jr. as well.
All right. And again, if he hasn't already plugged it enough, please make sure you subscribe to What Do You Say with DDJ, a member of the PWJ Pod Squad. He has local Chicago talent, and he's also had former NWA champion Tim Storm on there. So got a wide variety of people he interviews. I personally listened to every episode. I finally caught up with work, but some good shit there, man. Also,
such great shoot.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're going.
Guys, such good shoot.
Yeah, check out our boys Shane Green, Isaac Gresser, and Steven Dozer, fellow members of the PWJ Pod Squad. They go
Dozer
live.
has a first name?
I was shocked by that one.
Yeah, Dozer actually has a first name. But no, these guys they go live every Thursday night at 10 Eastern, 9 Central on YouTube, and they are a lot of fun. So please check out Such Good Shoot.
Yeah. But guys, that's going to do it for our very first episode of the Junkyard. We made it through only just a few talks of Retribution drink. Our I was totally joking about that. Love you, Dennis, man. Hey,
whatever.
Thank you for joining us. We will catch you guys next time. Have a great night, great evening, great morning, whenever you're listening to this.
You know what? Screw you guys. I'm spilling the beans. We're bringing in